History is often written by the victors, but sometimes the most compelling accounts come from those who survived a defeat, their stories shrouded in controversy. Today, we're delving into the first-hand narrative of a key figure at one of the most infamous battles in the American West. First, be sure to like and subscribe to Winlink DeepDive to support our investigative community. Marcus Reno was a professional soldier whose career spanned the American Civil War and the Great Sioux War. He is primarily remembered for his participation in the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where he held a command position under Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer. Reno's conduct in the engagement became a subject of intense debate, leading to a court-martial and his eventual removal from the service. Nonetheless, his reputation was later subject to review, and he was granted a posthumous honorable discharge, with his remains interred with military honors at the Custer National Cemetery. Of particular note, Reno composed a letter providing his personal narrative of the Battle of the Little Bighorn. This document stands as a crucial primary source, offering a vital perspective on the events of that decisive encounter. After General Custer instructed us to assault the village, we advanced approximately a mile and a half. Gunfire was audible during our movement. Upon meeting the Indian force, their numbers were overwhelming, compelling us to dismount and form a skirmish line on foot. We subsequently retreated to a nearby hilltop where our horses and mules had been secured. The soldiers sought cover behind scrub brush and made ready to hold their ground. This occurred near 5:30 in the evening. The Indians assailed our position in great force, and the exchange of fire persisted through the night. Around 9 o'clock, they broke off their assault, and we employed our limited implements, knives, tin plates, and canteens, to dig rudimentary entrenchments. We were left in peace until 2:30 on the morning of the 26th, when the Indians initiated a vigorous offensive that continued until 9:30. In this period, they also fired upon our herd of horses from an adjacent hill that lay beyond the effective range of our carbines. Near 8 o'clock, the Indians charged Colonel Benteen's sector, and one warrior advanced so close he was killed before he could count coup on a fallen trooper. With numerous injured men and a critical lack of water, we were forced to take immediate action. Because the river was roughly 600 yards distant, Colonel Benteen commanded a detail to obtain water, screened by a protective skirmish line. Tragically, one volunteer was killed and 6 others were wounded in this effort. Despite these casualties, we successfully brought water to the wounded. The Indians maintained a persistent harassment throughout the day, but gave indications of a general withdrawal. I observed them igniting an extensive fire in the valley, generating an immense cloud of dust and smoke. They seemed to be utilizing this screen to retire in an organized manner toward the Bighorn Mountains, some 30 miles distant. My first thought was that this might signal Custer's approach, but we remained entirely unaware of the catastrophic disaster that had already consumed him and his command. The following morning, General Terry arrived, bringing word of Custer's defeat. Colonel Benteen and his company were dispatched to the battlefield, where they verified Custer's loss and recognized the bodies of the deceased officers. I was placed in command of Companies M and G, and General Custer directed me to move forward rapidly and charge the village, with a guarantee of his full support. This order was delivered by the regiment's adjutant, Colonel Cook, and it was the final communication I received from Custer. Cook and Captain Keogh rode with me briefly, with Keogh stating, "We are all going with the advance, and Miles Keogh is coming too." But after fording the river, I did not see them again. I dispatched a messenger to Custer to alert him to the substantial Indian strength, but I proceeded with the charge under the assumption he was supporting my rear. As I neared the village, I spotted Indians maneuvering behind my left flank. Understanding that I was isolated, I dismounted my troops and sought refuge in a nearby patch of timber. After securing the horses, I advanced on foot toward the village, closing to within 200 yards before Indians poured out in immense numbers. To avoid annihilation, I had to reach a defensible location, so I led a charge through the Indian lines to the bluffs. I was later joined there by Colonel Benteen and Captain McDougall with their companies. We had accidentally discovered a concealed river crossing, which we used to gain the bluff. I initially had just 112 men and 25 scouts with me. Had I not charged for the bluffs, my entire command would have been wiped out, precisely as Custer's was. Our most significant error was miscalculating the Indian strength, which included no fewer than 2,500 warriors and perhaps as many as 5,000. The Indians are renowned for their superb abilities as light cavalry. I have observed many capable mounted forces, but the warriors of the Sioux and Cheyenne are counted among the finest globally. Captain Anson Mills concurred with this assessment, having been deeply impressed by their skill after his defeat by Crazy Horse at the Battle of the Rosebud. During the Custer engagement, Lieutenant Cook demonstrated remarkable courage, remaining mounted until the final moments, even after Custer was down. He commanded the last surviving group, leading several charges against the encircling Indians. Based on the account of Curley, a Crow scout and the only confirmed survivor, the Sioux warriors repeatedly fell back before Cook and his small band, who fought with great determination until they were finally overrun by superior numbers. Following the Battle of the Little Bighorn, Marcus Reno was subjected severe criticism for accusations of drunkenness, cowardice, and ineptitude. In spite of this, he assumed command of the remnants of the 7th Cavalry, succeeding George Custer. A formal inquiry later exonerated him of misconduct. However, in 1877, Reno was charged with making improper advances toward the wife of a fellow officer, resulting in a 2-year suspension from duty. In 1880, he was convicted of assaulting a subordinate officer and reporting for duty while intoxicated. This led to his dismissal from the Army. Although he campaigned to restore his name, Reno succumbed to cancer in Washington, D.C. in 1889. In 1967, a military review board reevaluated his case, examining the original documents and witness statements. Consequently, his discharge status was posthumously upgraded to honorable. Originally buried in an anonymous grave in Washington's Oak Hill Cemetery, his remains were later relocated to the Custer National Cemetery on the Little Bighorn battlefield. And that's the story of Marcus Reno, a man whose legacy was as complex and contested as the battle that defined him. His personal letter remains a poignant piece of the puzzle, reminding us that history is rarely black and white. If you were captivated by this journey into the past, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to Winlink DeepDive channel. Your subscription ensures you won't miss our next exploration into the fascinating and often untold stories that have shaped our world. Thank you for watching.